Hello, beloveds. I'm going to take as always, I'm so honored that you're here. This is Tara-Nicholle Kirk. I am the founder and CEO of Soul Tour and Empires of the Soul, and author of the Empires of the Soul, and author of the Transformational Consumer, and lover of Source Spirit, all that is, and you. So I honor and thank you for being here. I'm going to do just a little, this is not a super like lots of slides and this is you and me rolling up, rolling up my non-existent sleeves. And just doing the actual crafting of your signature system, the meat and potatoes, the substance and life force of every single household name, knowledge, course, information, product, coaching, consulting, or thought leader, expert business, whether it's an official expert or an unofficial expert, every single business that you've heard of in this space that's doing well has this golden thread running through it of a signature system. More importantly, for my purposes, my calling, your signature system really operates as an alignment anchor. It's grounding for you, the entrepreneur. It has all these things that it does with your customers. It magnetizes right people and it excites them about the work that you'll do together. It excites them about paying to work with you because they feel like there's a real there. And we live in an anti-mastery, not really much there culture. So people are very excited. It truly does make you stand out in a very crowded marketplace of transformation businesses to have a signature system that is solid, has the right categories, and just lands with that inner resonance that kind of cracks people's chest open. So it does a lot of things in the marketplace, but having a great signature system, in my mind, I care more about it because of what it will do for you as the owner, founder, creator, creatrix of your empire of the soul. It keeps the business aligned with your true sacred self. It keeps you in your mission. It keeps you on your purpose. It keeps you out of shiny object syndrome, out of squirrel landia. All right. So that's why we're doing what we're doing today. And that's why we're doing it in this format, which is a relatively unusual format for me to teach to the public. I teach like this to my students and members all the time. Okay, I think that's Ashley saying, hey, everyone, happy to be here. If not, you know what, you guys come into the chat, just drop your name, tell me your name that you'd like us to call, like in conversation name. Tell us who you are, tell us where you are geographically, tell us, what you're thinking about, what's on your mind. If you have questions that you'd like for me to get to about signature system or about building the empire of your soul, please let me know. Also, let me see. Hey, yeah, I thought that was you, Ashley Marie. Okay, so let me also just show you. That in the school classroom, if you go to classroom right now, no, I don't want to leave without saving my changes. If you go to classroom right now, there's, you'll see the day 1, which is today, day 2, which is tomorrow, which is co-working, and whatever else we need to get to, okay? Because this is a workshop, we're gonna do the work. And then day 3 is resources. And in resources, I've just dropped literally a treasure trove of things. If you follow today and follow tomorrow and just do the work with me in real time, you'll get where you need to be. I trust that and know that. There's also just a bunch of other really great resources that I've used to teach about signature system in the past, including the book Empires of the Soul, including 4 or 5 of the workbooks that I use in Empires of the Soul community, which is my business building and mentorship community for people who want to do build their businesses with my help. I've also just put a couple of like diagrams for my own signature systems in here. We'll probably see a lot of this stuff today. One thing I did want to just show you really quickly, though, is the Empires of the Soul blueprint. This is linked in your resources. And this is where I kind of just walk you, well, in here, I don't walk you through, but this one pager is designed to show you the blueprint of the kind of business I call an empire of the soul. And it's like literally what we built together in Empires of the Soul community. It's it is the business I would build if I were starting from scratch now, knowing what I've learned over the last 8 years. 8 years running Soul Tour, 25 years in the transformation business. This is exactly what I would build. And this is actually what I'm building now. And it's what I support my clients to build now. So I think this is really important for you to see that the signature system here on the upper left is that alignment anchor that keeps your business rooted in who you are and keeps you joyfully in it. These are what we're going to create today, vision, pillars, and path. I'll talk to you much more about those. But most people never do this stage. They just start kind of like making YouTube videos or running trainings or writing books, right? They don't do the P, maybe they start with offers, although most people do not. In fact, if you were going to start someplace erroneously, that would be the right place to start. But most people don't even do that. They might start offering, one-on-ones. People are all over the map. And the thing that differentiates you and causes you to stand out from everyone else in this industry is having a solid signature system. So this is where we're starting, and I'm delighted that you bought that thesis enough to be here. Okay, let me just scroll really quick and see who's here. All right, so Ashley Marie is here. Tara is here. Amazing. Ooh, someone in Hawaii. Cool. Hey, Stephanie's here from Oakland. Perfect timing. You are in the perfect place at the perfect time. Reverend Karen Cleveland is here. We all want to hear more about your business, Karen. Tim Van Horn is here. Let's see who else. Alicia's here. Are they listed in any particular order? They are listed in the order of user experience. They are not listed in the order that you should do them. If you're in Empires or if you've come to my Spark sessions in the past where I'm teaching the model, you know that I say we start with you. We create your signature system first, and then we jump to the end. You actually create your Empire offer or your course powered community offer first, then you create your live sessions, then you create your YouTube videos. If you want me to go into more detail on the model, I can actually just walk you through the whole thing tomorrow. I don't want to derail today because I want us to do signature systems today, but I'm actually very happy. In fact, if y'all have some time, well, Reverend Cleveland, I know that you are not coming tomorrow because it's Sunday. I have a walkthrough I've been needing to record. So I'm like very happy to walk you guys through the model tomorrow, and then you would have a replay of it. So I'll either do it on tomorrow's call or I will drop a video walking you through it into the resources. But I'll tell you, the way to do this is actually to come to Empires of the Soul community and do it. I will give you a special invitation, all of you, either today, tomorrow, Monday, someday soon. Super Sheila is here. Amazing. Regina's here from LA. Amazing. Okay. So I'm kind of going to dive in, and I'm actually not going to we're going to talk, and I'm going to give you stuff to do, and you're going to go do it. And then you're going to come back and we're going to talk about it. Okay. That's kind of how this is going to roll. This is a workshop. Let's see. Let me get back to signature systems. Okay. So we are here. And why are you here? We are here to build something, yes, but we're also here to unrepress some things that have probably been repressed for a really long time. We're here to reveal some things to the world. We are here to reveal some things to you. You are here specifically with me and not with any of the other people you could be studying signature systems with, because I have a commitment for you who study with me to build not just any old business Barbie, business bro business. We are building empires of the soul. Alignment first, alignment with who you are and why you're here first. Freedom always. All right. If we're building businesses where we have to work harder than we worked in our day jobs, or where we recreate those other toxic complexes and dynamics, perform, conform, produce to get love from childhood, that's not an empire of the soul. Okay. Low income, low stress, high income. Low stress, high income together. Low stress, high income. All right. And I want you to build your version of an empire of the soul, because I care about, and your wise inner being cares about you being truly successful in a new success kind of way, not in a what they call success kind of way. So one thing that I see a lot right now in some of y'all is I see us making the mistake of being too concerned about other people too soon. We're concerned about, we're concerned about the number, how much money we can make so we can leave that day job. That's an external concern. We're concerned about what our mom will think or our former colleagues will think when we start marketing whatever we're marketing. We're concerned about how many followers we're going to get, how many likes we're going to get, how many buyers we're going to get, how many customers we're going to get. We think we have a big vision and mission and need to make a big movement. And all of that puts a lot of other people's opinions about our work first. And while there is an appropriate time for you to be concerned about what they think, at the stage that most of you are in, which is the stage of building this beautiful baby idea, thought, desire, even. Some of you don't even have your business idea, but you have a burning desire, and that counts. At the stage of turning that in, making the executive decisions you have to make, the decision to be in business, the decision to be open to business, the decision what your business will be, the definition of success that I want you to aspire to is different. The definition of success that I want you to aspire to involves two things and two things only. Okay. Well, yeah. It requires that you know and love your true sacred self, that deepest level of you, your unique spirit and personality and likes and dislikes and gifts and dreams and desires and how you're wired, and your shadows too. All those pieces of yourself you might have been hiding and holding back or stuffing down for a lifetime. Somebody in this room, somebody who can hear me right now, the empire of their soul may not be in the subject matter of their day job. That's just the facts. And we're here today because I don't want it to take you 8 or 10 or 12 years of trial and error in the business that's inspired by your day job because you think that's all you have permission to do. I don't want it to take you that long to realize that actually all of those weird things about you and those peculiar, quirky habits and interests that you have that the people from your day job think are crazy, that's actually where you're going to make your most impact, meaning, and money. All right. So our definition of success is that you know and love all of those things about your true self, including all of those parts you've been holding back or hiding. And two, that you create a whole life that's congruent with that true sacred self, including the business empire of your soul. Building the business empire of your soul it will actually change you. It will unlock, repress, activate, access parts of you that you have not met in your adult life in wonderful ways. So our job here in this workshop, Signature System in a Weekend, that's our big job. Our small job is to create, let's see if I can put this on screen. Our small job You know, we got big self, small self, got big jobs and small jobs. Our small job is screen share. Okay. Okay, our small job is to create, we're going to actually unpack the pieces of your signature system, the UDO vision. Just start, I know it's a funky, clunky acronym, UDO vision. This is the ultimate dream outcome that your best fit customers desire from working with you, even if they don't know it yet. They don't have to know they desire it yet. Some of you guys didn't know you wanted to build, you know, an alignment first, low stress, high income book, brand, and business. But when I named it, you were like, right? Okay, that's the UDO vision. I want you to think of the UDO vision as like the mouth-watering name that you give the recipe of the new reality you and your best fit customers are going to cook up together when they come and happily pay you to work with you inside your core offer, which we'll talk about tomorrow. Okay. All right. So all you're doing is naming, why are we here? What are we building together? What's the recipe we're cooking together? UDO vision. Okay. Then the pillars. Think of your pillars as the three main ingredients of the recipe. Three, there it can be actions they're going to take, it can be milestones they'll achieve, it can be components that they'll build with your help along the journey from their current status quo, let's call it pain state, to their UDO dream outcome bliss state, which is usually, stick with me here, their UDO dream outcome is usually also the upgraded diametrical opposite of their current pain state. Okay. All right. And we're going to craft a success path. This is just, what steps are we taking? What's the roadmap from here to there? What are the instructions of the recipe? Okay. And then for homework today, I'll probably ask you to think about your unique mechanisms. I'll just be telling you what unique mechanisms are. And then tomorrow I'll discuss a little more in depth on unique mechanisms and on the various components of the empires of the soul business model, so you can know what will you do with the signature system next. Okay, that's what we're going to do, and I will save some room at the end of this for questions. I see Nick Frick is in the building. Amazing. I see Holly's here from DC. Hello, darling. Yeah, we're not playing. Guys, I turned 50 in like 4 days. I am not here to play no more. We're going to just dive in and build it, just crack it all open and do exactly what we came here to do. And by here, I don't mean your living room. I mean to this body, to this earth, to this life, to this timeline. Okay? All right, let's go. Okay, so as always, I have to give you a little bit of, the basis, like what is a signature system? Because I don't know, what do you guys think a signature system is? Because I have a really clear idea of what I think that means, but I'm really curious as to what you think it means, and like what if any pressing questions came up for you upon having this conversation with me in email this week. I'm going to take a minute and actually see what your responses to this are. I heard that, Karen. Okay, and articulated, yes. Okay, great. And articulated, Tamara says, your signature system is an articulated path of transformation that only you can deliver. Yes. Signature system, Ashley says, signature system, I think, means my foundation that my temple or business is built on, my North Star. Karen, yes. These are all right. Our signature system is your special way that you do the things that you do. Your signature system, I want you to think of as the meat and bones of your business. Okay. In my world, in the world of like empires of the soul, which I hope I've pre-paved enough, because I need to keep that teaching kind of in another thing. But we're not just building regular, like, here's their pain, here's an example. I saw a guru in my space say the other day that one of her favorite clients runs a business about taffy apples. And she was like, see, you don't have to change people's lives. Just make taffy apples. If you like taffy apples, make taffy apples. And I'm like, girl, if you like taffy apples, make taffy apples. But that's not what we do here. In Empires of the Soul, we're literally like actually building things that do change people's lives. All right. And usually based on our own life changing journey. So in this world, in this house, your signature system is it's your unique life force energy for your topic and the people that you work with. It's your unique genius and it's your unique takes. Do you know what I mean? Your unique perspectives, your unique worldview on the topic that you love talking about and thinking about and exploring in the world and in your own life. It's all of that energy, but organized into a step-by-step way, a step-by-step model or method or process that other people can use to get the results that you've gotten or to get the results that you're about to get. Okay. And I say that way because you don't actually have to have fully achieved the UDO vision of your offer, of your signature system, to very successfully help other people on that journey. Okay. But you do need to be on that journey. All right. I want you to just bring that down to ground and ground that with this idea that your signature system is really just a collection of your ideas and stories that explain how you think the world works on the subject matter that your dream customers will come to you for help on, right? It's just the way you share what you know works to get people to their desired outcome on your subject. Another way to think of it is it's your story or theory of change. Okay? It's your theory of change. And it's beautiful. And a lot of coaches, consultants, creators don't have one. And it's why sometimes you follow people on social media or you watch their YouTube videos and the videos are good. And then they have offers and they make offers and you're like, but I don't understand why would I enroll? Why would I enroll? I have that experience all the time. There's people I follow, love them. They're probably doing good stuff. Why would I enroll in that? I don't know what process we would go on. I don't know where you're even trying to get people. All right. So there's a way about a power. One of the powers inherent in a signature system is that it's how you create a world with people. It's how you give them a vocabulary for their inner and outer experience. It's how you show them, and this next couple little points are important. It's how you show them that there's a spiritual adult in the room. It's how you demonstrate, people say in marketing, they're like authority. It's how you demonstrate your leadership. I've talked before about how, your journey in your life was a hero's journey, that archetypal hero's journey, where you, like all other heroes, and their journey is too, right? And you resisted the call for a while. You resisted the call to adventure for a while until something happened, a mentor, aid, guide, tools, something showed up that made you think, you know what, maybe I could actually be victorious on this challenge, on this battle, on this quest. And then you accepted the call to adventure, fought your battles and quests, and came out the other side. Okay. That leadership, the mentor, the guide in the hero's journey archetypally is leader, is showing up to the hero and being like, hey, you can do this. Here's how I know. Here's what I can offer to help. And that is how you help through your signature system. You demonstrate leadership, you offer your mentorship, and you help create calm, clarity, and order on a topic where they currently feel unclear, probably somewhat, well, definitely uncalm, and maybe even chaotic, because transformation feels chaotic. Now, I'm really wanting to emphasize this because a lot of times when people come into empires of the soul community, one of the first things they say, and I'm like, what's your business? They're like, well, I help people turn their chaos into calm. And I'm like, girl, you don't even want to call that into your life. Ask me how I know. You don't need to actually say, I help you turn your chaos into calm. You don't offer to dive in and turn their chaos into calm. No, you bring calm to the chaos in the form of your model, your framework, your system. And that creates hope. That creates space where people are like, wait a second, somebody else has already taken this fog of chaos that is living rent-free in my head and seems to have already thought it through. So that gives people more than just credibility. It gives them more than know, like, and trust you. It's how you create hope. It's how you create excitement that they haven't had on the subject before, because now they have a belief that something is possible that they may not have believed was possible before, because you have thought about or you have been in their current state before, and you know where they want to go when they may not even. And you have a plan and vocabulary for getting from here to there. That is a big deal for people. And it is your model of the current world. It is your model of the world you're proposing to help them create through your book and your brand and your business. And you don't actually have to write a book, is the whole point I'm trying to get through. You don't have to actually write a book to have a very powerful signature system. You just need to write a few key points about the system down and put that into the form of your offer sales document. And then over time, you can turn that into your workshops, your videos, your emails, your books, your journals, all of that. You don't have to start with all of that, and it doesn't have to take a ton of time to do this. And like I said, some of you have seen, I'm going to invite you into, if you're not in Empires of the Soul community already, I'm going to invite you into In Business by Christmas next week. If you want to actually do the work of taking the system that we're going to do today and building it into your offers in a 6-week work sprint, we will do that together. This is not a thing that needs to take years. You don't have to write a whole book to do this, okay? Let me give you a couple of examples. I'm just going to show you a couple of examples of signature systems that I've created over the years. And I've created a lot, which I hope will help you see that you can create a whole lot of signature systems over the years. Not right now. Okay, this is the very zoomed out version of the Tara-Nicholle method. What you see here on the right, this triangle that says recalibrate, actualize, align, is actually the core Tara-Nicholle method. And for years, I taught just on that. It's a method of life, self, money, and business mastery. Okay. Which if I were creating today, I would define much more tangibly. By tangible, I mean, I would define in ways that people knew exactly how their real life, their calendar, their text messages, their bank account would look differently as a result of that work. And you'll see that evolution when I show you the Empires of the Soul model. So this core thing is the Tara-Nicholle method. It's these 3 steps: recalibrate, actualize, and align. I even have like a more zoomed in version. I think you can see this is a circular version that we used when I was teaching Life, Self, and Money Mastery. We would have these like monthly kind of liturgical calendars of focus, and we would do quarterly areas of focus on radical health, aligned wealth, love and wisdom, creation and manifestation. Actually, this is a great moment for me to point out, in the interest of time, I'll point out that this inner circle here basically maps to the things people will pay you for in a transformation business. Okay, spiritually speaking, we think of this as like the square of well-being, like in Florence Scovel Shin's work: health, wealth, wisdom, self-expression, right? And that is accurate. I've never seen a better definition of what we aspire to have and be and do and create as humans. And also, these are the subjects that people will tend to pay for. They want to know how your offer, your system, your model is going to create improvements in their health, in their wealth, in their wisdom or relationships. And really, wisdom right now in the marketplace for transformational offers is like skills and relationships, and then like creative power, their ability to like get the things they want. And then this version is the more zoomed out version that I'm sharing because I want you to see, actually, I want you to see that it began with just this recalibrate, actualize, align, with the outcome being the life you were born to live. Okay, that's the more tangible outcome that they want. As I started to talk to people about what the unique mechanism was, why my system was working for people who, when they have tried everything and other things weren't working, I would talk to them about this core trance that almost every human alive has is under the influence of a core trance of fear, scarcity, unworthiness, or trauma. And until they could get awake from the core trance, they couldn't really get to the life they were born to live. Which is why recalibrate is like the first step of the Tara-Nicholle method, because it's where you manage your nervous system. It's where you learn how to get your nervous system out of defense mode enough that you can have this like expanded window of tolerance and get from where you are now into this realm where you could practice the Tara-Nicholle method over and over and over again. This was sort of came together in my storytelling about Reclaim, which is a 90-day program I have that recalibrates your nervous system and your belief system and your identity. As I was doing that, I was like, wait, this is a narrative. This is literal roadmap, and people need to understand the order of operations that in which this work has to happen. You can try to start living the life you were born to live now. You can try to do something different now, but until you can think something different and feel something different, it's going to be really hard for you to sustain that. And so I do a lot of in real time molding of the clay of my signature systems and of my just like life's work. So I could see that when I would talk about that, people were like, oh, wait a second. Yeah, that tracks. As long as my nervous system is like telling me I'm being chased by a lion or I'm on a battlefield, that's probably not the best time for me to like go start trying to like meditate or go start trying to learn how to have $1 million business. But if I can do the nervous system work, then I can kind of unlock this, like the small hinge that swings open the big door to this whole thing in every area of my life. And so I just crafted this diagram, and it was like people really found it beneficial and got why they should come into the offer of Reclaim, and got why they should do Reclaim, at the beginning of Empires of the Soul, which I ask people to do. Let's see, do I have other ones up here? I have the congruence codes is body of work on it's body of self-discovery systems that I created, all out of just because this was my own journey. It was my own journey. It was like the code was all about understanding my inner critic and my core trance and dissolving that. And then I did all this work on my, like, I had the problem in my real life of feeling like there has to be more out there than this. I know I'm a genius. Why am I living this life that no matter how I'm working my heart out, nothing is working? Shit is still always hitting the fan. My life looks really great on the outside, but it's really stressful and not incongruous on the inside. So I had like a dark night of the soul back in 2008, and this was the journey I went through. And started with inner critic and nervous system healing, core trance awakening. Then it started to be about money work, money metaphysics, sacred money archetypes. Then it became about purpose code, which was like very human design focused for me. And then it came into the Omega code, which is actually the exact opposite of the Alpha code. The Omega code is like me stepping into, if Alpha code was about the fear, scarcity, unworthiness, trauma, like those inner critic archetypal patterns, Omega Club was about queen, warrior, mother, lover. It was just about like the full like activation from within of like the most of being abundance, not in every way, not in just like a money way or a business way. This was like a very mastery study for me. This is a system I only teach currently in the Tara-Nicholle method certification. But you can see, right, that they are already in the resources section, actually. I'm pretty sure. I will check again, but I'm pretty sure they are. So this is just me giving you examples of like not what I expect you to have at the end of the day to day, but what you can create and the power of the visuals that you can create when you lay out a system. And you can see how, like, if somebody is interviewing coaches, not that I even like really do, I do no one-on-one life coaching anymore. I do some one-on-one coaching in Empires, but only for Empires members. You can see how if I was talking to someone back in the day, okay, when I had a life coaching business, I would send 5 emails a day just to people in my network and be like, hey, I am coaching people like this. Do you know anyone who I should work with? And a lot of times people would be like, yeah, I need a coach. Can we talk? And I would talk to them and I display something like that. The other coaches they're talking to are not showing them a system like that, a roadmap like that. No way. All right. And now when you come into the world of the kind of offer that I'm going to encourage you to have, which is I call it the mothership, right? An empire offer, which is like a course powered community, a group offer. So you don't have to do as much sales work and you can have, monthly recurring revenue. And you can also have this beautiful receptive community of people who are, growing and helping each other, and you're all growing together, and for me, I love having a community where every body of work I'm inspired to create is for these people. Like I know what their journey is right now. I know what they need right now. I'm a few steps ahead of them. As I live it and create it for myself, I bring it back to them, and it just makes my journey, my personal and entrepreneurial journey, is like 1,000 times improved by having this group of people who are on this journey with me. And that's also my it's also my business, which seems like wild. Like I feel like I did something very, very right in a past life to be here. So that's the kind of offer I'm going to encourage you to have. And in that world, when you're selling that kind of thing, you're not selling that kind of thing. I'm not one-on-one talking to anybody about joining the Empires of the Soul community. I'm only selling this community through my content, through my YouTube videos, through my emails, through occasional group sessions like this. And if you're going to do that, you got to have a method. You got to have a signature system. You got to have a framework, and it needs to be good. Okay. So that's the backdrop. Um, let's see if there's anything else I need to tell you. Okay, so your signature system will organize your process step by step. Each step will have clearly defined outcomes along the way. When your people see that you've created the solution to their problem laid out in this way, they will feel understood and they will feel confident that you can help them. This will make what you're doing much more marketable and makes it less stressful for you to try to talk about what you do. Okay. All right. And you can have more than one signature system, but focus on the core system first and then start marketing it and start. I'm big on this right now because I've scrubbed the energy grid of my business so clean that the clients who are in it right now are literally like, I literally would and do hang out with them. Like they're just like exactly the people who I want to be around in my life. So I am big on letting them co-create with me, meaning I like the ability to see what they need and see what's happening in their world and create more systems or more frameworks to that versus just sitting in a room and overthinking it and making pretty diagrams that don't do shit. Okay. So, and don't worry about trying to get your signature system to include everything you know, or everything you care about, or even everything they need, right? You got to actually get very essentialized. You got to strip things down to the basics for each step. Know that overwhelm is the number one reason people do not buy in the transformation business. Being overwhelmed is the number one reason people don't buy. It's also the number one reason they leave their community, they leave group offers. Okay. And I know that somebody is thinking, but I'm like, I used to be like this. I used to be like, I don't need a system because I'm so present with every single customer. I'm just doing exactly the thing that they need. Every client is different. This was like a lie of my overthinking, overworking, perform, conform, produce conditioning. It is actually not even beneficial to your clients to have to be the first. First of all, it's not true. It may feel like your work is changing based on the specific situation of your individual client, but the reality is that there is a reason certain people come ask you for advice all the time versus other people. And that's because you likely follow a very particular thought process or have a particular worldview that you always bring to the table. Okay. It's not beneficial to your clients to be reinventing wheels for them for every single brand new client. And it's certainly exhausting to you. All right. So, what we want to do is create a system and then be masterful of it, become the only expert in the world on it. Like, nobody else can be a better expert at the Tara Kirk method than Tara Kirk. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not a thing. So, and over time, if you're a person of depth, which you are, because that's why you're here, over time, you just get to go really deep on it. And every talk you give, you know what to talk about. When people ask you questions on podcast interviews, you know what to talk about. If you're writing different pieces of content on arguably kind of different subjects, you'll still always bring it back to your method, even if you don't call it that. Like I'm writing this piece for CNBC right now. Well, I've got a 1, 2, 3 because they want 1, 2, 3. It's kind of like the steps that we're going to go through today. I don't have to call it that. I know what I'm going to talk about all the time because I'm always talking about my method. And then that allows you to get very good at it. Very, very good at it. Okay, so here's the metaphor. So I gave you the recipe metaphor, right? Where the UDO vision is like the name of the recipe for the new reality you guys are going to create together. And the pillars are like, what are the ingredients, right? And the path is like, what are the instructions? And then your unique mechanisms, which are like how you explain why your thing works when other things haven't. That answers the question like, why does this recipe taste so damn good? The other metaphor I want to give you, though, derives from my number one admonition I'm going to give you as we go into this, which is that I want you to put your audience last for this moment. I want you to put your customer last. I want the only audience you'd write your signature system for to be the past, present, and future versions of you on that hero's journey, right? You needed a mentor. That's the person who casts the vision. So you're going to cast a vision for past you, maybe for present you. You needed an aid. The assistance comes in like the support you're going to offer in your offers and the pillars of your model, right? Every hero needs a guide. The guide is the path. 1, 2, 3, your steps. And then when we get into actual offer crafting, there's the actual like stuff you're going to talk to them about in your community every week. Like signature system is a tool for my people. Okay. And you're my people. Okay. Let's see if I can put this into the chat for you. Yeah, it's kind of messy. Oh, and you guys can't really see that, can you? Let's see if I can make it a little. Here. See if I can make it a little bit bigger. How does that look? Okay, could be able to see that now. So we're going to do the metaphor, the recipe metaphor, and I want you to shift into keeping your audience, your customer last. Who we're writing this for now is past, present, and future versions of you. That's who I want you to keep in mind. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, so get self-centered. I mean that in the best possible way. Turn inward. If you know the sacred sigh, that's that breathwork practice we do. That's like one big inhale, a little inhale to like overfill your lungs and then slow breath out. You might want to do that a few times, right? Okay, you can do that 5 times, 10 times. I'm not going to do it too much because it makes me a little bit lightheaded. And we're going to start by creating that UDO vision. As you're doing those breaths, I want you to remember that we're building the empire of your soul, and it all starts with you. You, maximum awake, maximum aligned, congruent with your true self. This moment is where you start to give yourself permission to be all the way who you are and build this business from here. Okay. If you don't have a business yet, this is where you begin making the executive decisions about what business you're that to be in business and to be open for business. Okay. All right. I'm going to ask you to just do a bunch of have something to write on. You can have a Google Doc open if you'd like. Journal is arguably better, but whatever floats your boat. And I'm just going to start asking you some questions to prompt you into where we need to be. Okay. And I'm just going to make this be seamless. I'm going to start with some things that are going to feel personal and maybe confronting, because that's how we operate. That's why you're here. And then I'll just segue straight into the questions to get you into your signature system. Question 1 is, what would it take for you to feel like you were in business and open for business? What would it take for you to feel like you were in business and open for business? Are you willing, I'm gonna ask you to go fast. Okay. Are you willing to commit to be in business? Are you willing to make that commitment first and let that commitment spark clarity? It's a yes or no. Are you willing to commit first to your sacred contract to be in business without being all the way clear? Yes or no? I'm assuming yes, but I want you to say that yes to you. And then the next question is, what emotions? I want you to give me a list of like 10 rapid fire emotions. What emotions do you want the people you work with eventually, your best clients, what emotions do you want them to pick up and feel from your products and services and your content? What emotions do you want to ground your offers and your marketing in? Give me 10 fast. And then my last question for this little bit is, what would you have to believe to feel those emotions on the subject of your business? What would you have to believe to feel those same emotions on the topic of your business? Okay, we're calling emotions in now. If you've done life, self, and money mastery work, you know that was a vibrational roll call. We're getting ourselves into those emotions by just naming them. All right. So now I want to start to get you into the vicinity of the sweet spot within you, that deep magic within you, where I want you to build your, I want you to extract that or convey that through your signature offer. This is a little bit you giving you permission to be weird, right? Because your biggest income is always in the intersections of like your marketable expertise and just like that weirdness about you or that strange topic you love. So, first couple questions I want to ask you about. This is a prompt called As a Child. Um, I want you to list 7 things you loved as a child. I'll give you 2 minutes. And then I need you to give me 7 things you loved to do as a child. Let yourself remind yourself of some things you haven't thought about in a while. So that was 7 things you loved and the 7 things you loved to do as a child. One more minute. And then I want you to look at the screen if you can. This is an exercise we call I'm Brilliant Because. I find I created this exercise, or I evolved this exercise based on the real world experience of forgetting some of my own biggest life wins. Because I live in my own skin all day, every day. You probably live in yours too. So, I would and when we get really in the weeds of marketing and we're in experimentation mode and we're trying this and we're trying that, we kind of can forget to bring along with us some of our biggest wins that create that are why we know what we know. For example, I was the chief marketing officer of MyFitnessPal and grew that company to an enormous size and helped get it acquired for almost $500 million with content. Yet for some reason, my last probably 5, 6 years in business, I never even mentioned that in my marketing, even though it was like kind of wildly relevant to my best fit customers. So at this stage of this game, I always, and it is a game, it's a creation game. Ain't nobody here proving their worth. You are beloved of God, Goddess, Source, Spirit, and all that is, whether you make $1 or $1,000,000 or no dollars. In this creation game at this stage, it's really helpful to bring back online your biggest wins to remind yourself we have reminded us of who we really are in the big picture cosmic scheme of things, but remind yourself of who you are in this realm too. So I want your top 3 career wins and top 3 life wins. List those first, and then I'll give you a few more minutes for the rest. Those are the ones that are like that reactivate things in people. What were your top 3 career wins according to you, and your top 3 life wins? And if you happen to come, I'm going to give you 5 minutes, 6 minutes for those. If you come up with anything and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I don't ever talk about this, please drop it in the chat so we can celebrate who you actually are with you. And we can be reminded of where you've been, the journey you've been on. This is one of those where I absolutely do not want you to hold back. This is like, this is in your own journal, right? Or maybe you put it in the chat in a group of people who like celebrate you being just out there. I see people hold back on this, and it just adds years. It adds like years to the process of finding your right business. And you'll find it eventually. Your wise inner being is not going to let you hide from ever. It just forever. It just does not work like that. So I just encourage you to be like as out there as possible. Take credit for stuff. I mean, I like my with my MyFitnessPal example. Okay, I was the head marketer at MyFitnessPal. Was it my company? No. Did I found it? No. Was it my vision? Absolutely not. Was there a team of other people? Yeah, there were like 75, 100 other employees. Did I create and run the marketing strategy that got that business from 45 million to 120 million customers? I absolutely did. 100%. Like, ran the strategy, created the strategy, pitched the strategy to the board and the CEO. Like, you've done stuff like that too, but a lot of us really struggle with taking credit where credit is due. And because for whatever reason we were taught to leverage our genius for other people, and that was okay, but maybe that it was actually arrogant to claim it for ourselves. I come against that lie. It's just a lie, and I come against it. Noopy Shine, your this is already in your resources in the class in the school group. I'd love to see some of you guys dropping your career and life wins into that chat. So Tamara says one of her career wins was producing a spoken word show with diverse women that founded the Cincinnati Fringe Festival. One of her life wins was curating the production of a condom couture fashion show. I feel like everybody wants to know more about that, right? But we talk a lot about, when we talk to you, we hear about like academia and helping students, and that's amazing. But I'm glad that you have brought these other like quote unquote fringe things back online, because it's arguably more interesting. It's more interesting. And that's the era we live in, is people want to be connecting with other people who have this like electric life force energy. That is the one thing that you can bring that AI can never bring, right? Most of what you do in your day job, AI could arguably teach somebody something about. But AI is not going to teach somebody about condom couture. This is not a thing, right? I mean, I would be disturbed by whatever AI could come up with on that. Okay, so we did, as a child, we did top 3 career and life wins. I'd like you to take a look over these next. Again, this document is in your resources. It's the it's the Empire Offer day 1 workbook. I see one of you in it now, so I'm pretty sure it's actually in there. I'm not sure what I called it though. Let's see if I can tell you what I called it. I think it's called the Zone of Genius workbook in there. I want you to take a look at these bullets and actually take another like 4 minutes and just bullet out some stuff. Skills and talents you've developed over time. I should actually make this be like interests. Like, I know a woman who had a really thriving PR company in San Francisco, and she just came here to Portugal and got a golden visa, which requires $500,000 of cash, because she doesn't want to move, but she wants the visa. And I was talking to her about what she's doing, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm like, I've got this astrology YouTube. That's where I'm making my money." This woman who was like corporate communications for venture-backed startups literally is making more money from her astrology business. Interests, skills, and talents you've developed over time, books you've written or contributed to, positions you've held, degrees, schooling, graduating in high standing, awards you've won on any topic, trainings or areas of study you've immersed yourself in over time, especially if you are a projector in human design. I'm not going to do a lot of human design today, but if you're a projector in human design, systems that you've like mastered or just gone down the rabbit hole of. Now this one, I think I have this way too low on the list. Life experiences or situations you've overcome. Now I'm not, as some of y'all who follow me know, I am not a fan of being in the woundology business, but there's a depth to someone who's been through a certain thing that somebody who's going through that certain thing really appreciates. If you want to be working in the subject matter of whatever it is that you've gone through. Your natural skills and talents that you take for granted because they seem easy for you. And you're like, why can't everybody do this? The things that other people around you value about you. And I did put that in an appropriate place on the list. It's almost at the bottom. But what you value and appreciate yourself, what you've created, and what you're proud of. I'm going to rearrange these. Okay, so just jot anything down that comes up for you there, and I'm going to move us forward. Okay, I'm going to ask this question. What is a thing that you unconsciously, without trying to, you find yourself doing for free, that you delight in doing, that blows people's minds? What is the thing that you without trying to, unintentionally find yourself doing for free, love to do, that blows people's minds? And I'm even going to add, and where and with whom do you find yourself doing it? What is the thing you find yourself doing for free that you love to do that blows people's minds? And where are you when you do it? And with whom are you when you do it? This was the origin and genesis of my business brunch offer, because this is what I do all day for free. Is like, with my clients, I'm, in beautiful places building their businesses. With my friends, I'm in beautiful hotels and resorts talking about business and spirit and strategy in the intersection. And so I was like, wait a second, I should just make business brunch an offer. And I did. And it's been one of my more successful, very like casually created offers. So I'll give you one more minute. What's the thing that you do unintentionally for free that you love to do that blows people's minds? Like, where people come back to you and they're like, oh my gosh, yes. Where people call you later and they're like, that thing you said, what is that? And guys, as you go through, if you get any like results that you're like, oh wow, I'm surprised that came up, please drop it in. Let's see, Glam Mommy Diva 7319, in her career, worked for a major logistics company and had a role for the entire international organization based on her skills and expertise. In her life, she has a circle that trusts her. That's deep. Okay, so now we're getting into the universe, into the center of what I think of, like your genius is a gong. We want to hit the center of it. We want that resonance, okay? So this is a prompted experience for creating a signature system. I invite you, if you can, to do this in a way where you physically stand up and maybe take a journal or a notebook or some Post-its or something. A journal or a notebook would be better, or loose sheets of paper with you. If you want to take your laptop with you, that's what I would do. Let's be real. You'll need like 8 feet of space in front of you. Okay. So I want you to make sure there's no tables or chairs or anything. Like, don't just stand up at your desk, right? You'll need some space in front of you. So maybe at the side of your desk, or maybe a hallway. A hallway is good. Ideally, you'll be able to like see out a window, because you want that sense of like space and expansion and like movement. Okay. So you can take a pen, you can take some paper, you can take your laptop if you need, you can take your notes app, but those are probably it. Probably not a Post-it note. Okay, so I want you to stand at the beginning with that open space in front of you. Root down, roots of light growing out of your feet, cracking through the center, cracking through the crust of the earth and rooting you down. Taking just that moment to like grow really long and tall in your spine. Think a tall thought. Almost feel like your spine is a conduit between heaven and earth, because truly that's what you are. Okay, and I want you to envision or imagine that there's a line or a path extending out in front of you. Okay, at the end of this path, I want you to imagine your now self. Okay, everything you've become, everything you are, your now self is standing at the end of this path. Now, you can think about somebody that you've worked with that you'd love to work with again, or, a dream client that you have in mind out there. But I think one of the more powerful ways to do this is to envision your now self standing there. Okay. And you're going to, you can walk over there. You can walk over there and look back. Look back over the last year, 3 years, 5 years, for me, 20 years of your life. And I want you to ask you, and I want you to like tune into that, who you are now compared to who you were then. Feel the sense of achievement and accomplishment for what you've accomplished now. Yes, of course, you want things, you have all these things you're working on, but if you're here, you've already come a long way. You've already come a long way. So I want you to like look back, reflect back over the last 5 or 10 or 20 years of your life. And I want you to start to actually write down, how is your life different now? How are you different now? Okay. And I want you to get really specific. We are looking for very specific things that are different now for you or for your past client or for your dream client than they were before, in the before scenario. So, like, what do people from the outside looking in at you in your life see as different about you right now? What are the specific outcomes that happened for you on your journey or for your client? If I followed you around for a day, what would I see or hear or notice is different for you now than it was in the before state? How are you different now? How is your life different now, specifically? And write a bunch. I experience this a lot because I have the blessing of some amazing clients who I've had for 5 years, 7 years, 8 years. And I've heard probably 3 times this week, "You're so calm now." Like, I watch some of them, they're still watching videos that I shot in 2017, and they're like, "The difference between you now, your energy now and your energy then." All right. So, I want that, but I want you to get even more specific than that. What do people from the outside looking in at your life specifically see as different? And you can have more than one result. Okay. And now I want you to ask yourself a couple of questions. I'm going to actually drop into the chat. So, first, I asked you what's different in your life now than it was before. But I also want to ask you, how would you describe that journey you've been on? And another way of asking that question is, what's the big life project that you took on that held this transformation that makes you so proud of yourself when you look back? So, for example, some of us went on a journey of healing, healing from trauma. Some of us went on a journey of um, becoming a lawyer, thriving as a lawyer with ADHD. Some of us took on a journey of like self liberation or building a certain kind of business. What's the most of us who are successful in our life journeys, usually there's some project we think we've been on. How do you think about the project you've been on? How do you talk about that? And I'm going to just start to talk to you a little bit about tangibility. I don't expect you to get there today, to be honest, but I wanted to start to plant some seeds. And a lot happens overnight, and a lot happens over a night, over a week of nights. If you had asked me this question, you know, a year, even a couple years ago, I would have said, "Oh, I've been on a journey into sovereignty. I've been on a journey of healing my trauma. I've been on a journey of self-liberation. I've been on a journey of like true self-congruence." But when I think about things, when I'm asking for these really specific and tangible ways that your life looks different now than it did before, I might say like, I live in Portugal now. I just bought the storybook Farm by the Beach that I've been thinking about for manifesting for years. I have a daughter I'm obsessed with, and she's a thriving, unrepressed child. I might say I've written 4 books, or I have my own, multi six figure business and my multi six figure per year business and my own multi six figures in passive income assets. Like, I want you to get really tactical and tangible about what you have now that you didn't have then. Because it kind of helps us to get to the process. That will help when it comes to getting you to the process. It will also help you choose. I might say, like, I have a lot of people who are like, you should be in the parenting business, or you should be in the like, my ex-boyfriend is like, you really should teach relationships. My now boyfriend is like, you really should teach relationships. So that might be a thing. But you can see how like I could choose to be in the business of helping people move to Portugal. I'm not in that business though, because that's not what lights me up. But as you list the things that are tangibly different about your life now that you're proud of than your life then, that gives you the ability to kind of go through and be like, I read you that list of things about myself that are different. I can be like, I don't really want to be in the business of helping people move to Portugal. That doesn't light me up. Having a daughter or a beloved that I like with beautiful relationships, that's a little more close to something that is interesting to me. I've written 4 books. I have my own business and my own passive income. Those I talk about all day, every day for free. And I love the people who want to have that conversation with me. And I love that we get to dress up and have them in beautiful places. Okay, ding, ding, ding. Can you see how that starts to get at like the subject matter of my business in a way that's like really aligned for me? And could change over time. Like if I happened to fall out of love with business and really just wanted to talk about parenting, I could go in that route too. Ashley, your biggest project has been becoming sovereign. Biggest trauma loop was letting go of the theme of loss and self-abandonment. I want to hear what your, tell me what sovereignty, tell me or write about what sovereignty means, like specifically. What has that looked like in your life? What does your life look like? How is your bank account different? Your text message is different. Your calendar different. Tell me like I'm a 10-year-old. What experiences do you have every day that are different now that you're sovereign? And what's the outcomes? What happened? Tell me what specifically shifted in your everyday life in a way a 10-year-old would understand it when you got to the opposite of loss and self-abandonment. What is the opposite of loss and self-abandonment? Okay, we're going to go into that now. Okay. I want you to make it, I want to hear what the rest of you guys are coming up with. And what's really lighting you up as you look at the things that you list about your life now that are different than it used to be. What about them is really like turning you on and could be something that you like would talk about for free, would work on for free, you probably already been giving advice about it for free because you just love it. And people come back and are like, that blew my entire mind. Okay. If you're already in Empires of the Soul or you already have a business, these are like guardrails and gut checks for you, right? Like, and I feel like everything is on the table all the time in the life of seeking true self-congruence. Sometimes we can't see the things that are incongruous for us till we're way down the path, and that's okay. So I ask myself this question all the time, which is how I know I'm in the right business, because I consistently am like, yep, would do it for free. I mean, I wouldn't do everything that I do now for free, but I love to talk about this subject for free. And like, I'm consistently, when I talk about this subject, people are consistently like, damn, girl, like, I've never even heard anybody talk about that like that. That's what you want. You want to be in that business. Okay. Now I'm going to ask you one more question to help enlarge the vision. If you're in Empires of the Soul, I have like a series of questions I'm going to ask you in next week's weekly member message to make it bigger, make it even bigger, make it even bigger, make it more true self congruent, make it even more congruent, make it even more congruent. I'm just going to ask one of them right now. If I were watching the movie of your life right now, let's say we're all here watching the Greta Gerwig version of the movie about you, what business would the audience be screaming and yelling at you to be in? What would, if that's too abstract, what would the audience be screaming and yelling at you to do next? I'd love to see some answers in the chat. If you starting your business was the movie about your life, what would the audience be screaming and yelling at you to build? What business would it be saying, you got to be in this business? Oh my gosh, what are you doing? Kind of like the time when I had my human design chart read the first time. And she was like, oh my gosh, your business is called Soul Tour. That's amazing. It's like literally written in your chart. And then I was like, well, what about the gym? Because at the time I owned a gym. And she was like, girl, there ain't no gym in this chart. Like that. I don't want you to have that. What business would the audience be screaming and yelling at you to do? Okay, now I want you to I'm going to let you have one more minute with that while I get organized around my next question. Now, what I want you to do, if you're up or you're visualizing yourself, your now self, way down the path, right, on the journey you're going to help other people take, I want you to walk back to the beginning, right? I want you to walk back to the beginning of the path. And you're standing at the beginning of your journey. You're seeing your now self way out in front of you with the outcomes that you created along this path. And as I ask you the next question, I want you to physically take one step forward on the path to discover the answer. Okay. So don't answer from where you're standing now at the beginning of your path. I want you to step forward to discover the answer. Okay. And you're just going to have to keep stepping into it. So the question is, what was the first step you took or thing you did to help you get from here to there? Okay. If you're doing this, imagining like a dream client you've worked with in the past or a dream client you want to work with, what is the first thing you did or did do with your client to help them achieve the outcome you helped them achieve? What was the first step you take them through to get to that result? And, stand here for a minute and take a deep breath. And you might even notice how, as you start to write this step down, you may have like ideas come in about like content or concepts that you cover when you're working with someone, or exercises that you have people do, or milestones that you get accomplished in this first step. For me, when I was creating the Tara Kirk method, this first step was really about, it was about, having that dark night of the soul. It was about, starting a daily ritual practice where I got my nervous system out of defense mode, and I sort of expanded my window of tolerance. It was about healing my inner critic. It was about resetting everything. It was about resetting my nervous system, resetting my inner critic beliefs, resetting my worldview, resetting, what I thought success was, resetting from trauma. So I kind of, as I wrote down, like, what did I do first? It kind of all was like resetting, which ultimately became recalibrate. And really where I started was just like, it was like I was doing this daily ritual. I was like literally sitting down every day with sacred texts and like sitting and reading and then writing in response to what I had read. And then I was doing it as prayer or declarations or affirmations. And then I would get up and do the 5 Tibetans or some brief take a walk. And that was literally how I created the daily ritual, guys. And a lot of those things, a lot of the protocols within the daily rituals that I would do with myself became reclaimed, became the inner critic cure, became inner critic archetypes, became the core trance work, all of that. So it wasn't that neat and clean when I originally created it, but I want to just give you an example of how to take how I take what I personally was doing in that first step and make it into a step in my method. Okay. That's good, Stephanie. I love this, Ashley, and I do want to talk with you. I'm going to get to the end of the steps, but then I do want to answer your question that you asked earlier, or to discuss it. Glam mommy, counseling, coaching, but on what topic? Who? On what topic? About what? To what end? For what purpose? What are you going to help them get to? Yes. So Holly's got something, which Holly is inspirational. So there's that. She says she doesn't think about herself this way, but other people are always describing her as inspirational and asking if she's coaching. The thing is that inspiring people right now there's a lot of inspiring people in the world. So we've got to get to the specific outcomes, either that you want to help other people create or that you've created for yourself. Um, Very tangibly. That's why I keep asking these weird questions about, like, how does your bank account look different? How does your calendar look different? Tell me like I'm a 10-year-old. Tell me like I'm a CFO. CFOs basically only pay for like changes in money or changes in experience. Okay, great. What money or experience or time shift? What is the shift that they actually experience from working with you? I mean, yeah, there is benefit and people will pay for someone who helps them do what they couldn't make themselves do. In the transformational consumer book, we call that the personal disruption conundrum. Most people know what to do. That's why people aren't paying really much money for courses anymore. People will pay for communities in which they can implement. But Holly, my question is like more factually specific. Because this is very good, but it's very general. And we don't really want to market to everybody. Okay. We want to market to a specific group of people who have some people would say who have a specific problem. I would say have a specific dream. What's the specific dream that your people have? And obviously, I will work with you individually to figure that out. Or specific desire that they have. And it can be like around identity. Like I've actually realized that in empires, the original UDO vision of empires was 30K or more a month in 16 hours a week or less, while you're staying in your zone of genius 90% of the time, right? I didn't just say aligned business. I gave it some tangible markers. And I've messed with them and experimented with them over time. So that even while you might be on this call being like, wow, we have Dr. Karen, who owns a safari business. We have Nick Frick, who's a career coach. We have Ashley Marie, who's like working with people on like relationships and like patriarchy, right? Like we have Holly, who had a really big, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say what Holly's job was before, but it seems like everyone's different, but all of you all have that same very specific desire to have an alignment first, low hours, low stress, high income business that turns your journey into what you do. Everybody has that, right? So that's like an example of what I'm talking about in terms of like specific. Yes, Holly was a CIA agent. Okay, great. Deconditioning from a male god through Christianity. Yeah. I actually just created a mini ebook on power literacy, The Body as a True Bible. Ashley, I feel like your work is probably really genius, honestly. I do think that you have like the genius dilemma though, which is like, it's very deep and it's very like developed and very complex because the subject is complex. And you'll want to like meet people in non-complex and bring them into the complex, maybe even behind the paywall, like after they're paying you. But we can talk about that. I still love like deconditioning from a male god through Christianity makes sense to me as a first step. I would encourage you to maybe make it a little plainer language. Like unlearning church lies. I'm not saying you should use that, but I'm just trying to like illustrate what I think would be more plain language. Okay. Okay. So your first step, you guys should have your first step. And now I want you to take the second step. This is not, there's nothing. What was the next step that you went through or that you take clients through to get from here to there? And if you're standing, step into that space in front of you to discover it. What was the very next thing you did with yourself or with this client? What was the very next step that you took them through? Step forward now. The answer is usually there. It's a little easier to access sometimes if you make that physical step. What was my second step in Tara-Nicholle method? My second step actually it depends on how zoomed in I want to go, but it was actually all I now call it actualize, but it was like me learning why I am the way I am. And like what was the other end of that spectrum, like what was the fullness of what I could be. So that was where I actually I think of that step as 2 steps. I did a lot of work on money because money was really important to me at the time for my sovereignty and freedom. So I did a bunch of money dissolutions, money metaphysics work, sacred money archetypes work, attachment styles and systems work. And I also I began to learn my human design. I began to learn how I operate best. What it kind of like in a corporate setting, this would be like my time of understanding my strengths. Right. This was when I came to understand, I don't believe in like strengths and weaknesses. I think that's too surface, but it was that second step for me was when I began to really understand the full spectrum of my potentials and why I was, sort of manifesting the lowest expression of some of my potentials and what would happen if I could like learn to operate my powers best. And I did that through studying, honestly, a bunch of archetypal and metaphysical systems. That's what it was. I studied the laws of the universe and I studied all kinds of archetypes, including human design and sacred money archetypes. So that second step for me became, in the Tara-Nicholle method, became actualize, because it was really like, and I want to offer this as, for some of us are complex. When you walk people through your system, you get to offer commentary on it, right? And so I would say to people, once you heal your inner critic, once you heal from trauma, once you recalibrate your nervous systems, once you unlearn a lot of what the world has taught you, speaking of deconditioning, it's literally, if I were a human design specialist and I was only speaking to other human design specialists, this is for Ashley Murray, I would call my step 1 deconditioning. Deconditioning the not self is what I would call it. But I don't work with other human design people. I work with regular people who don't know that language. So I don't call it deconditioning the not self. I call it resetting my nervous system, healing my inner critic, unlearning, cultural lies, healing from trauma. Okay. When you do that, and when I did that, it was very untethering experience, because when you unlearn all of the beliefs you've been taught your whole life, you don't know what else to believe. You don't know how to get motivated or energized anymore. So for me, it became very important to relearn who I really was at true sacred self level. And that stage was actualized stage. And that's where I actually started to study these other systems for understanding who I was that didn't have anything to do with my conditioning. Okay. All right. So that was my step 2. Okay, great. Hey, Joy Lehman's here. Hi, darling. Okay. All right. Anyone have a step 2 they want to offer me? Nick, if Nick is still here, what's your step 2? Hey, Ashley, this is good. She's not sure if yes, and you won't know what your actual final steps are going to be for a bit, but this is a good. She did a lot of trial and error around learning who I am within intimate relationships. Collapsed my identity into people because I was still centering my family's approval. Created a mini book around decentering the family, men, and expectations. I mean, is that like it might be like finding your center. Usually what happens is you list all the stuff you actually did in these steps. Then you sleep on it a night or two. And then usually what seems like it's 8 steps becomes like 5. And then Tara says, nope, it's only 3. And then when it gets down to 3, you give them a good name, but you don't have to like know the name yet. Ashley, question, do you feel like this second step is kind of what you have your clients do in the second step? And I think, I mean, if I were you, I would write even more. I'd write like a whole longhand page on each of what you did, what you personally did, like what that trial and error looked like, what that decentering looked like. Like, was the second step the decentering step? Or is there a recent decenter then recenter? Unlearn, decenter, recenter could be a thing. Okay, Holly, I view mine as know yourself, get over yourself, see your performance, enjoy, grow. I would say that third step should be more active, not see. It should be like grow. But it is helpful if you actually write out like what real things you did what events took place in your journey in each of those steps will help you validate it as a method for others. Okay. Yeah, Joy, that's awesome. Is this your step 1? Or 2? Enjoy your Tara Kirk method certified person. So your step 1, your steps can literally actually be recalibrate, actualize, align if you want, because you have a license to use that method. But I think the things that you're talking about feel all recalibrate to me. Yeah. Yeah. It's like pure aura time kind of thing. And then tell me what your step 2 is too. Okay. And then give me at least one more step. Truly how this process usually works when I have run it with individuals is we will come up with like 8 steps. I did this, I did that. I started to learn I studied this, I practiced. Like that actualized step probably was like, it was like cast a vision. Actually, if you were in Life, Self, and Money Mastery, guys, this used to be a 5-step system, right? It was like recalibrate, re-envision, you know what I mean? So step 2 included casting a new vision, setting new goals. Originally, it included like kind of learning what I really wanted using these archetypes and learning how I should work. There was something else in there. But it definitely was about, like, setting goals and desires, um, for sure. And then in the 3rd step, now it's like, I have realized I am made of God. I and all of you are too. I began to learn the metaphysics of creation and wield them. I like stepped in, I stopped chasing. I started to see how easily things would come to me when I slowed down and didn't do anything. I came out, I stopped believing that I have to do physical effort to get the things that I want all the time and started like connecting those dots. And that's kind of where I ended up coming up with like the queen, warrior, goddess, lover, and aligned action. Like my radically fruitful body of work lives in this last, like align is actually about receiving and action both. So you can see how like recalibrate, actualize, align originally would have been like 8 different things. But then we just make executive decisions for the purpose of working with how people's actual brains work, right? Um, okay, so I want you to draft at least one more step, and then I'm going to give you your homework. I'd like to see. Yeah, I'm going to give you some homework. Laura steps are release, connect, shine. Great. That makes sense to me for you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, you do need to simplify and specify, but and I think like if there's a place that's about action, you should name that. Joy. Yep. Ashley. 3rd step might be center self. Yeah. I think like an unlearn. My only question, Ashley, is like, should decenter go into unlearn? And then, or not, right? Is unlearn and or unlearn learn and decenter 2 separate steps? Joy, are they not taking, and this brings us back to the thing that I'm going to ask you to do for your homework, guys. For your homework, I want you to think about 2 questions. Okay. The first question I want you to think about is, what is your UDO? What is the dream outcome you want to work with people on in your business? I want us to make an executive decision on that and nail that. And I did drop a workbook called the UDO Vision Workbook into the Signature System Crafting Resources tab in the calendar. Sorry, in the classroom. I'm going to show you because I just said that wrong. There. Okay, signature system. This is in the school group. If you come in here, well, it's going to look different for me than for you, but this is probably what you see when you come in. Okay, come to classroom, click resources, and you'll see here that there's a UDO Vision Workbook. So I want you to pop that open, and what it's going to do, it's going to remind you of the exercise that we just did. It's going to remind you of the exercise that we just did, where I was like, where are you now? Right? Where is your right? Where are you now? And where did you start? Look back to where you started. Where is your dream client now? And where did they start? It's going to walk you through that in an even more granular way. It's going to prompt you. Let's see, make sure that you guys can see. Yeah, you can see. Okay. It's going to prompt you through where did you begin? What was your pain state at first? What was your customer's pain state? Where were they at the beginning? Vividly. And go all in on it. Don't worry, we're not going to agitate these pain points in their marketing. I want you to go all in on, I usually spend like an hour just being like, they don't, well, here's an example. They have a business that's not making enough sales. They're working too much for the results they're getting. They're doing too much shit they hate. Right now, if I were doing it, I would say they have a professional or corporate job they are retiring from or leaving, and they're not sure how to turn what they know into a business. So I would list out a few of their top 3 pain states. And then I want you to come up with the upgraded diametrical opposite of that. All right. Again, this was my original ultimate dream outcome, upgraded diametrical opposite for empires. This was my original. Now we do it without numbers, which is less tangible, but more appealing to my people, my right people, because they're not all about money. They are about soul. So we talk about alignment first, low stress, high income business. What are those? So that's my question for you. What are those 3 things for your people? What are those 3 things for your people? And then I want to know what your what are your 3 steps to get them there? And actually, that's all I want you to do today. If you can either come into the feed on Signature System in a Weekend in the school group, just come here, and when it's giving you the opportunity to write something, share what your 3-point ultimate dream outcome is. What are those ingredients of, yes, what is the vision that you guys are creating, you want to create with people? What are those ingredients of that vision? And then what are your 3 steps for getting them there? That's what I'd like to know. Yes, that's what I'd like to know. Does anyone have, so drop it into the feed. If I were you, I would just stay online and just do it now. And I'll say, what is your actually, let me make it even more granular. What are your dream clients' top 3 pain points? What are the opposite bliss points to them? What are your 3 steps to take them from here to there, as inspired by your own personal journey? And if you drop your answer here in the comments to this post, I will give you feedback tomorrow on the work session tomorrow. Does that work for you guys? That should be really specific. And if you can get to here, I want to show you, I'm going to show you, this is the Empire's sales page. I've made, a couple $100,000 on this sales page, not even on a landing page or anything designed or fancy. But do you see exactly what I'm talking about here? You got to know what it is, right? You got to know what it is that you're helping people create. I'm helping people create. The vision is alignment for the UDO vision, the ultimate dream outcome vision is alignment first, low stress, high income, brand, book, and business. Okay. And then I add some constraints just for language, but then I'm like, what are the pillars? What do you need? You need your core offer. You need your live sessions. You need your content platform. How do we do it? Phase 1, we do it backwards. In phase 1, we build your Empire offer. Phase 2, we do your Spark sessions. Phase 3, we do your content platform. That's it. So I hope to show you that so you see that it's very rapid, and that's like the whole offer. It's very, very rapid to go from having a solid signature system to having an actual offer that people can pay you for. Um, okay. Ashley says it's unlearn is educational first online, not body yet. I would say list out all your steps and then I can help you make some decisions about where to break it. Where to break into chunk, which things to chunk together. Pain points can be internal states or tangible pains. Usually internal states have tangible pains associated with them. Yes. So joy, it's interesting. You're calling what you're saying getting supports. You got coaching and became a certified coach. But that actually required you to take action. Like it's not just like it just was found you and showered upon you. You made some self-investments and took some action. So I'm wondering about if there is an action oriented. And the reason I'll say this, and it goes a little bit to Ashley's question too, is that people are not currently trusting that they're going to do strictly. First of all, people don't really want to invest in strictly internal work right now. Yet if they're investing in coaching or courses or communities, they tend to be wanting to do that work with therapists, especially if we're in the United States, because in the United States, people are getting a lot of therapy and insurance will pay for therapy. And actually, therapy is relatively inexpensive. So it is really important for us in this business to be, if you want to be in premium pricing, it's important for us to be talking about our work in ways that are tangible so people know how it will change their actual life. And they want to see actual real life results. They want to know how their lives are going to be different. So even if we're talking about a thing that seems internal, it's important for us to use this process, this vehicle of the signature system, to take the intangible and make it tangible. That is what will set you apart from all of the other coaches. So like I was trying to talk to someone about, I was using an example of a relationship coach when I was teaching something. And I think the example I used was like, what they want is like to be able to check their text messages and see a text come in from someone just being like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy you're my person. That's tangible, right? But it's also an inner, you could start that process of marketing to that point by saying, you want to be in a relationship, right? Or you want to be in a healthy relationship. And then we can work on how to make that tangible or express that in a way that feels like an experience someone wants to invest in. We can do that later. Okay, I'm going to go. I just posted the homework note in the school group. So come there and give me what you got. And it's not supposed to be great yet. It's not supposed to sound like recalibrate, actualize, align with an untethering and a like window of tolerance. No, it's not supposed to sound like that yet. Okay. So give me, if you have 8 points and 8 steps and you don't see how they could be fewer than that right now, put them in the homework and I'll give you some feedback tomorrow. We'll work on it together tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm not going to do much teaching. I will talk to you a little bit about unique mechanisms and then about how we use this work. If you get stuck, tell me, come into the feed and drop a note with your questions. What I don't want you to do is to let your inner critic just do what it does. An inner critic will always just be like, I'm stuck. I feel confused. I'm overwhelmed. Okay. You cannot just say those words in the feed. You have to actually like share how you've engaged with the materials, including the materials in the resource, and give me a tangible question I can help you with, and I will absolutely help you with it. And Mommy Diva, I'm glad you guys are here. I love you guys. London's au pair is about to bring her home any minute, so I'm going to run. And I will see you tomorrow at the same time. And just be okay with that. It's a little messy until it clarifies. But you're in it. You showed up. You're doing the work. That's how it gets. That's how we create empires. Find one finite, manageable project at a time. That's it. All right. I love you guys.